Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Listen, dangerous times around the holidays, people give you gifts. So I had a very good friend of mine, Tammy, got me a red chef's hat. I was told I look really sexy in it, so I thought I'd wear it, but how are we looking? Good? This will look very legitimate now. Doesn't this look awesome? I'll leave it on just for a minute here. But today we're gonna make homemade ricotta. We're gonna do a little cheese making. And a lot of times when I talk to people about cheese, they get nervous, they think it's difficult or complicated or what have you, but I'll tell you, ricotta cheese is very, very easy to make. And once you have homemade ricotta, you'll rarely ever buy it in the store. It's absolutely delicious. You can control the flavor a little bit more. You can certainly make it creamy. You're gonna make it all natural, organic. It's healthy for you. Kids are gonna love it. Plus you can make it in for certain recipes. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a homemade ricotta cheese. And then what we're gonna do is in another video, we're actually gonna make ricotta fried cheese balls. Oh, absolutely delicious. So let me walk you through how to make homemade ricotta, and I just wanna go over the ingredients with you. And we're gonna do it the authentic Italian way. I always try when I share these videos with you guys to show you the way that it's done in Italy, okay? And if it inspires you and you wanna kind of tweak it a little bit differently, then go ahead. But this is essentially how they would do it right in Italy, all right? So number one, we're gonna start with a gallon of milk. Now this is, if you can, you want raw milk or organic milk, and I will tell you, the reason for that is the raw milk, it isn't cooked, so it's got a little bit different flavor to it. So it gives you a little bit more hearty flavor. We're gonna quart of heavy cream, so we're gonna add heavy cream. Now, what they would do in Italy, sometimes you'll hear vinegar or rennet, they'll add the cheeses, but in Italy, the acid that you're gonna use to curdle the milk is gonna be lemon. Lemons are very plentiful in Italy, so typically they would use a lemon. So we're gonna use 3 lemons. The juice of 3 lemons gives you about a little bit over a half a cup of lemon juice, and you actually won't even really taste it. You might have a hint of lemon flavor, but very little bit. Always in Italy they're going to use a nutmeg. So what we've got here is a half of a teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg, okay? And then we got 1 teaspoon of salt. Now the trick on ricotta, if you're making your own cheese, is if you're going to use the cheese for dessert, if you're going to use it for something that's sweet, right, a dolce, you're going to definitely not want to use salt, okay? Because you're going to add sugar, powdered sugar, or some type of a sweetener to the cheese. But in this case, we're going to use it for cooking. So if you're going to use it for like raviolis, or if you're going to use it just to eat the cheese, in this case, like I said, we're going to make fried cheese ricotta balls, okay? So we're going to add a little salt because we want to add a little bit of background flavor to it, all right? And then we're going to want something to drain the cheese, and I'll explain how that works for you. It's really cool. And then just some cheesecloth. So I've got basically a mesh colander with a cheesecloth. And it's real easy. Basically what we're gonna do, and I'll show you, we're gonna take the milk, the cream, and we're gonna add the nutmeg and the salt, and we're gonna heat it up. Now sometimes I'll see people, they'll use like a thermometer and what have you. You don't need to, I mean you can, but you don't really need to get it at a perfect temperature. You wanna bring the milk or cream mixture to a boil, but just to the beginnings of a boil. So right around there, you're gonna be about 190-ish to 200 degrees, and that's plenty. That's all you need to do. You're gonna remove it from the heat, and we're gonna add the acid. And what's really neat in this kind of the history of cheese making is ricotta cheese actually means to recook. The word ricotta in Italian means to recook. So typically ricotta cheese, because Italians would never waste anything, right? So what they would do is, in most cases, make a mozzarella, and after you make the mozzarella, you're gonna have a whey, so you'd prime the whey with some more milk or what have you, and it allowed you to extract more of the cheese and proteins and so forth out of that whey. So it was just a way to, it was a cheese that basically developed to prevent waste, and oh my gosh, it's so delicious, and now they use it in so many desserts. It's just absolutely delicious. So real easy, a lot of fun. So why don't you join me and I'll show you exactly how to do it. So if you want to come right over here. All right guys, so here we go. We've got a nice tall pot, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our raw milk, right? And raw milk just doesn't last as long because it's got living bacteria in it, which is good. That's what makes it actually healthy for you. So we're gonna take our raw milk, we're gonna dump it right in here. So we got a gallon of raw milk. And what you're gonna see is you've got different forms of protein and different bits of fat. So there's our milk, right? And then, let me get that out of the way. Then I'm gonna take our cream. Now our cream is really important. Typically what you would do is when you're done making, let's say, a mozzarella, right? you're going to have all this whey left over, and you're really just going to add some cream or some milk to the whey, heat it up, and again, you're re-cooking the whey, and it'll allow you to extract out. Okay, now I'm going to put it on low heat. Now, I say low heat. I'm going to do about a medium heat to get it up to 10, and then once it starts to get really warm, essentially what you're going to do is just turn the heat low. You don't want to burn the milk, and if you get it too hot on the bottom, it'll start to cook and burn the milk on the bottom of the pot. Okay, now we've got our salt, so we've got 1 teaspoon of our gray sea salt, and I've got half of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Oh, see, nutmeg is so delicious, so common in Italy. And again, you know, you hear me say this in a lot of the videos, you really won't taste the nutmeg. It doesn't have an overpowering flavor to you, but it just gives you that flavor, that background flavor that's so traditional in Italy. And then what I'm going to do is just give it a stir. I've got a wooden spoon, which is great, so it doesn't get hot. And the next is waiting game. So you probably got about 10, no more than 15 minutes to wait. And this thing will get nice and hot, and then it moves along really quickly, and then it becomes a lot of fun, all right? So I'm gonna let this heat up. We're gonna bring it to a boil. I'll tune in with you when we're ready. Talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, here we go. Come on right in here. Look, see how the milk is bubbling? I'm gonna shut it off. Whoa, we almost lost it. So I'm just turn off the heat. So, you know, some people use thermometers and so forth. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. You're gonna see some recipes call for like 190 to 210, but we boiled it. And now when you're boiling the milk and cream and the salt and the nutmeg, what it's essentially doing is it's changing the molecular structure of the milk and the cream. So you've cooked it. So that's gonna prep it for cheese making, okay? Now again, remember, authentically, ricotta is recooked. So they would take whey from another cheese process, most commonly is mozzarella. And then what they would do is take the whey and add some, like I said, prime it with some milk or some cream. And but I got to tell you, the smell, if you could smell through that lens, I'm telling you, the smell of that cream and the milk and the nutmeg, and oh my God, that's so good. That is just delicious. You know, and you could think of that. You can make ravioli with that. We're going to make fried ricotta cheese balls without the salt. You can put it right in, cool it, keep it a little bit more on the moist side. You know, you're not going to strain it as long, and you can use it for a ricotta filling in a cannoli or a lot of the desserts. Ho, 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 ho. So good stuff. So essentially what I'm going to do here is I'm done, right? So I'm going to pull it off the heat, and I'm going to put it on the granite top here, just so that it'll cool a little faster, okay? And I tell you how good that smelled. That smelled good. All right, so now we've got, like I said, about a half of a cup of acid. And again, authentically in Italy, they would use a lemon. You wouldn't typically have vinegar, and you wouldn't use balsamic, right? Because it's going to have a flavor. So they would take lemons and they pull them off the vine. You cut them open, and this is pretty cool. So we're going to pop it right in, and you can do it right when it's hot, right? And that acid from there you go. And you can see it. Do you see it right there? See how it's starting to form? See how it's starting to curl? Isn't that awesome? So you're going to stir it all in good for a few minutes here, a few moments. And you can see that's the ricotta. That's the ricotta cheese. So like you would heat, if you think of an egg, for example, the white of an egg is albumin, it's protein, right? So when you can heat it, and when you heat it, it denatures the protein, right? Coagulates it. So essentially what we're doing here is we're cooking the milk and cream concoction, right? With the salt and nutmeg, and that's going to change its flavor. So you've cooked the milk, and that's going to help release some of the flavor, the hidden flavor within the milk, the protein. And then when you add this, it curdles it. And now what you're going to do is you're going to let it set. You're not going to let it set till it's cold, but you know, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. And in your first reaction, you're going to want to, you know, the tendency is to keep stirring it, but you don't, because you actually want the curds to develop, right? So it's so cool. So we've got a good mix on it. And now, best thing to do is just let it set. So we're going to let it set 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes you'll see people let it set for a long time. They'll let it set for, you know, an hour or more. But, you know, you're not really going to get that much more of a yield. So when I watch a lot of the cheesemakers in Italy make it, they make it just like this. They'll keep it warm. They'll run it through our cheesecloth, which I'll show you how we do that in a minute. And then you're going to kind of strain it. And depending on how you like your ricotta or how you're going to use it, if you want a little bit more on the wet side, you're not going to strain it so much. If you want it more on the dry side, you're going to twist it and really drain it, refrigerate it, and like I said, you can eat it straight out, which tastes delicious, or you can mix it in a recipe, which is what we're going to do. So I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, check this out. Can you get in here and check that out? Look at that, isn't that cool? Let me get this out of the way here. Look at that. So now this is still a little bit warm. You can see the steam coming off, but it's been like 10-15 minutes. So see all that? Oh, that's all your ricotta. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Oh, it smells so good. My God, you know, you can smell the creamy, and we have a higher fat content in the raw milk, right? And in the heavy cream. So you can smell that off the steam with that little bit of nutmeg. Oh my God, absolutely delicious. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, and this is just the way I do it because if I go in a smaller pot with the colander, you know, it doesn't have enough room for the volume of whey that's coming out, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring it nice and close, right? And I'm gonna scoop it, right? And then just put it right in there. See it? You see all the ricotta there? And it'll just drain all on its own. And then once I get a good part of it, I can take the whole pot and dump it, right? You hear it draining? Isn't that cool? Oh, that's so cool. And you can mix it a little bit when it's in there, you know, or you can use a little mechanical initiative, as they say, right? Isn't that awesome? And you can smell the lemon, but you know, a lot of times I'll have people ask me like, oh, you're gonna put lemon, you can taste it. You'll smell the hint of it, but it's not an overpowering flavor in the ricotta at all. So great. Oh my gosh, this is so good. And like I said, when you make it yourself, one, you could certainly control the, oh, that's beautiful. So see, I already got a lot of volume of whey. So here, what I'll do, let me do this. I'll pull this off just so you can see it. See, so that's the whey. So what that'll be left over anytime you make a cheese. So typically, and I know I'm repeating myself, but typically that's what's left over when you make like a mozzarella. So in a couple of weeks, we're gonna make a homemade mozzarella. Mozzarella, which means to tear in Italiano, parli Italiano. So you're tearing and stretching the mozzarella cheese, right? And in this case here, ricotta means to recook. So you're recooking the whey. So it's really cool. And just dump it right in. All right, guys. So this is something like my grandmother would do, and what have you. Real easy. You're just going to take your cheesecloth, right, and you're going to tie. It's like the simplest thing, right? You're going to tie like a little knot across, right? Okay, and then you're going to tie this side with a little knot across. And I'll show you. There's a little trick you can do just to get it a little firmer. Now we want it firm but not hard, okay? So again, you're going to take this wooden spoon through here, you're going to go through there. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? And see, there's still a lot of liquid in there, right? So the little trick is you take it and just go easy. Always do it over something in case your cheesecloth fails, right? And then you turn it, and as you turn it, what it's going to do is it's going to strain the, it's got to strain the cheese more. Isn't that awesome? So you still got a lot of, there's still a lot of liquid in there. So again, we're going to use it to make cheese balls. So we want it firm, but we don't want it hard, right? And if I was going to make cannolis out of this or use it in a dessert, I'd say it's almost right where I want it. And then I'm going to just refrigerate it because I want it nice and creamy and soft, right? So what I'll do is I'll let this set for a minute, and then we'll take a taste. Normally, we're going to use it almost right away. So normally you'd put it in the refrigerator and let it cool, and then you can pull it out in a day or so. It'll last about a week, thereabouts, and just seal it up. And so I'll let this strain for a minute. We'll open it up, put it in a bowl. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so we got some ricotta. So that's perfect for what I want to use it for, okay? And not to beat a dead horse, depending on what you want to use it for, okay? And what I've got is I've got a nice bowl here. So I don't want to strain it anymore, all right? So I just want to open that up. All right, beautiful. And then just going to let it pour right out. Look at that, is that just delicious? So that's homemade ricotta cheese. So we're gonna use that immediately, right? So you can flavor that. I would let it cool a little bit unless you temper the egg, but you can flavor that if you wanted to put it inside of a ravioli or some other type of cooked dish. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna flavor it up and season it up a little bit because we're gonna put it and make a deep fried mozzarella ball, and that'll be in one of our other videos. But that's homemade ricotta. It's so easy, it's absolutely delicious, it's nice and warm. I'm gonna take a big hit of it right here. And you can smell the cream and I know I told you that, it's so, and the nutmeg, it's just perfect. Oh, that's good. I can remember when I was little, when my grandparents would make the homemade ricotta or the homemade mozzarella. Oh my God, it brings me right back. And it's so good, and I can always remember eating it when it was warm, right when it came off the stove. And then my grandmother would always use it in some type of a pasta dish or make a dessert out of it. It's so delicious. Guys, thanks for joining me. Easy recipe, something a lot of fun to do with your kids. Your kids will love it. You can talk to them if you like the little bit of the chemistry part of it. It's absolutely great. And don't forget to join us on one of our videos here because we're going to make homemade ricotta cheese fried balls. They're going to be absolutely delicious. And don't forget to visit our website. We've got our Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil right from the farm for sale on our website. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you'll always get notification of any new videos coming out. And thanks for letting me share some of my heritage and my traditions with you and your family. Hopefully you guys can set up your own traditions. Have a great week, guys.
It's the